bank. Window down, yelling out money, anything. Ayy, ooh, got the foot on the gas. Pedal to the metal when I'm get to the back. Ayy, got the foot on the gas. Pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast. Ayy, ayy, let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss. Ayy.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do, or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I got a very special guest for you guys here today. I'm going to pull him up in a second, but my team always loves to remind me to say this at the beginning of the episode as well as the end of this episode. If you get value in what you hear today, you guys, and you're not subscribed to the show, which according to my data, 70% of my listeners who do tune in are not subscribed, which appreciate the listen, but I need you guys to subscribe to the show, because if you see value in what you're listening to every day, that's how your network's going to see value. We need to help push that out there into the old social media universe. And then one more thing, my weekly newsletter dropped this morning. All right. I don't auto sign up my contacts for it. So if you want to get in on it, go to thefreightcoach.com. It'll auto prompt you to register for it. I don't have access to who's even signed up for it. I don't know that data. My team does, because frankly, it's just something that I don't really want to focus on who's signing up. I just want people to sign up because you guys want to get in on that value that we drop every single Wednesday. Speaking of value, sales, marketing, AI, how do we leverage all of this together to increase our outputs? What tools are out there? I don't know anybody who is in business right now that is not exploring some form of AI in their behind the scenes work, or maybe it's customer facing or not. And my guest today is very well versed in this, and that's my good friend RJ with SPI. RJ, thank you so much for jumping back on with me today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Chris.
No, man, I'm looking forward to, like I was saying, like I can only talk about why the market sucks so many times before I'm like, man, there's so much other things that we can focus on that's inside of our control. And the economy, what's going on in DC and stuff like that's outside of my control. What's inside of my control, though, is my sales output, my marketing effort, putting content out there and stuff like that. So that's why I'm really looking forward to talking today.
For sure. Yeah, where do you want to start off with?
Dude, let's start off with let's talk about those synergies, because I feel like there's been a lot of a shift out there that hey, sales and marketing need to start working in unison. They're not competing departments.
Yeah, well said. Honestly, with sales and marketing, I find nowadays, if you have separate departments, it's either because you're very, very large, or you just haven't bridged the two together yet. But sales has to be able to understand the marketing process and how leads or clients are attracted. But then also marketing needs to understand what customers are looking for, and then also how they are speaking with the sales team. So my first year here, I kind of really was just focused on getting the marketing and getting the brand stronger and more recognizable. But the more and more I understood not only SPI's process, but even just the industry as a whole, the more I realized I had to really be more involved in the sales process. And essentially, when an agent comes on board, what are they looking for, the signing, the pain points, all that kind of jazz. But nowadays, especially with sales and marketing, it's now almost evolved in the sense that you got to wear both hats, but then also you have to almost be able to level up in both simultaneously, right? You can't just necessarily go in one direction, be like, I got 90% marketing skills and 10% sales skills. If you really, really want to get ahead, but then also challenge yourself and be better, not just for your company, but also your internal growth, I find you got to be able to push both evenly simultaneously.
Yeah, it is one of the, and especially with, a lot of organizations out there, you're out there, you need to market yourself as a sales rep, as a business owner. And, and a lot of people, I mean, I see it on, take social media, for example. There's a lot of individuals who are they're trying to build a brand, right? Like you're trying to, and you should, right? Like you are a business, you are a brand, and it has never been easier to get in front of your prospects or a lot of eyeballs than it is right now. And it's like you have to make that conscious decision though, like what content are you going to create? And then how are you going to stay inside of that lane? Because this is just coming from somebody who's been down this path already. When I first started content, I wanted to talk about my experience in the industry. And then that virality bug got in my ear. Like, I was like, man, I want to go, I want to do this. I want to do this. And then I had a couple of posts go what you would consider viral, but I'm like, they didn't change anything. Right. And I'm like, and then it kind of hit me. I'm like, what do I want my content to be geared towards? And for me, I'm like, man, I just want to focus on best practices. I want to focus on how do we improve the industry and stay inside of that vertical. And then I'm only going to create content that is relative to that, right? Like I'm not trying to be out here talking about, how do I do anything other than become the best business owner and freight broker that I possibly can and stay inside of that vertical. And like, dude, it's worked out, right? Like inside of that niche, because I feel like when it comes down to content, people are afraid, like, I don't know what to say. And I'm like, you have a plethora of experience in your job. Just start there and then build off of that.
Yo, well said. Yeah, I think a lot of people, even myself, I sometimes find you get caught up when it comes to, I want to create good content, but I also want it to be able to convert. And in order to have content that converts, you need to be able to be your authentic self. And then also you need to be able to speak to your audience that understands who your authentic self is. And every marketer or anyone that's got in front of a camera would be lying if they said, hey, I didn't want to at least go viral once, or at least, really feel what that thrill is. And it's honestly, like you said, it's part of the growing pains, right? You understand when you're first starting out, you get the wide eyes, you're critical of yourself, and then you're just like, okay, what happens if I go viral? Then everything else will take off and I'll blow up and I'll have all this consistent, not attention, but it's I'll hit my goal. But what I've learned through the years too now is that being your authentic self, but then also understanding what you're talking about and who you're talking to creates a community. And having, hundreds, let's say, loyal followers that are going to buy from you or purchase from you or always tune in are a lot more valuable than a million passive scrollers that are just going to go in one ear, out the other ear. So well said, man.
No, but it's so true, RJ. Like if you think about it, like, depending on how much you're posting and stuff like that, like 1,000 people might view or engage with your content, might get up to that point, or even 100. And then you're like, oh, that's so small in comparison. But it's like, put 100 people in a room and tell me that that's not a lot of people. You know what I mean? I think like we have a digital confusion on like what's large and what's not. But what you said there, RJ, about like, are people actually trusting your word? And then they would buy from you based on your content. That's where the real magic lies, because you could have 1 million people love a post, but 0 people buy from it. Or you can have 10 people love a post and then 4 people buy from you and convert 4 leads. What's more valuable? Like, honestly. And then when you put it into that context, that's when I think it starts to click with people. Like, hey, it's the message. That's what I got to go after. It's the message that's going to resonate with people. And then another thing too, man, I think more people would be shocked to realize that there are way more passive scrollers who watch you that don't engage. So it's like people are watching, people are listening, people are paying attention. They might just not be the most active person. Like I know a lot of lurkers, man, that are like, dude, they just scroll, they love stuff, but they're never going to comment on it.
Yep. Well said. Man, passive scrollers are also so frustrating too, because you can kind of almost see them always coming up, or they might like something, or they might, just kind of always be there in the background. But then also what Mike actually taught me too was for our YouTube videos and the views that we get on there, we've had agents, or I guess we could say even passive scrollers at the time, that would just watch our videos for months and months on months on end. And then for whatever reason, today was the day. They just decide, okay, yeah, now I want to go with SPI, or now I want to buy your product. Now I want to buy your business. So it is it is a double-edged sword. Obviously, you don't want to just have passive scrollers and just your content not be converting, but also understand that there is potential that eventually those people that are watching, they will potentially convert down the line too. You just got to keep going and remember the reason why you're doing it, opposed to trying to be viral or trying to be an influencer, or trying to be that next big individual.
Yeah, dude. I want like, it's very true, RJ. And you just never know, right? And that's why I'm like, you have to just keep creating. You have to keep putting it out there. And the same thing is with sales, right? Like you have to make more sales calls. You have to send more sales emails, videos, whatever that looks like. You have to balance that out, because it's going to feel like you're putting in a ton of work and getting nothing in return. But the thing is everybody goes through it. And you're not alone in that regard. But like, what is unique to the times now is there's a lot of great software that's out there that you can amplify your output to where it looks like you're doing tens of thousands of points of contact now off of one single episode, right? Like I could take, just for example, I could take this 30-minute episode and turn it into about 40 to 50 pieces of content that we do that, right? Like we take all of this stuff and we chop it up and we distribute it out. The same thing could be about a sales video that you want to use. You can repurpose it and use technology to spray it out there to multiple recipients.
Yeah, and that, honestly, that's so crazy that you can say just even this interview, 30-minute interview can be purposed into 30, 40 pieces of content and all be able to speak to a different audience or a different persona or a different buyer with a click of a button. Maybe 5-10 years ago, you'd have to hire a freelancer and you would then have to make sure that freelancer specializes in pitch decks or specializes in infographics and SEO blog posting. But now, as long as you understand, and I think that's also what's good and bad about what we're in now, is everyone believes it's so easy, but you kind of also have to understand, kind of like a programmer, you have to understand the process. You have to understand, okay, right? Like, okay, this is my persona. This is where they hang out. This is where, white paper might do better than a slide deck. But a lot of people will just end up creating these different pieces of content, and then they'll just push it out hoping that it ends up getting them something. So you have to understand the process, but even just the technological advances in a 5-10 year span is mind blowing. And I honestly can't even imagine what the next 5-10 years will even look like from there. How will I even be sitting in this chair? Or will I be some AI that's talking to you, or vice versa, and people are tuning in via a VR headset or something like that, right?
No, it's true, man. So like what tools are you using then right now that, people should check out? Like what have you applied in there, and then how are you deploying it?
Yeah, so what's kind of funny or interesting is I found out that my generation, for example, dating has gotten so bad for younger people, right? That people are starting to email each other. So they're no longer doing dating apps. They're no longer doing bars and drinking and stuff like that, right? It's now they're just emailing each other, right? Yeah. They might find each other on LinkedIn and they might email. And it seems to be working because people are creating content off it, which I love. A lot of people that I've learned or that I've noticed a shift in the industry is people, especially in sales, what they're doing is they'll do a lot of cold calls, but they now have, let's say, something called an AI agent that will sound like them, talk like them, have their cadence. But what they'll do is, especially when you're doing sales calls, you'll pick up and it might be the receptionist or it might be, a gatekeeper, right? What they'll do is they'll have that agent, the agentic agent, voice agent, trained to be able to speak to the receptionist, but be able to bypass them in a way that says, hey, I'm not a solicitor or I'm not this individual. And as soon as their call is transferred, that's when they would get noticed, they would get a notification, and they would pick up the phone to then speak to the actual individual that they're wanting to talk to. So even it might seem a little overkill in a sense that, okay, well, why don't I just dial the number and I just talk to the receptionist myself and build that relationship? But the way these individuals, or let's say these SDRs, are looking at it is they're saying, well, I can have this agent dial 50 to 100 numbers in less than 10 minutes. That would take me almost all day. And I might only end up getting through, as you know, in sales, it's a game of numbers. I might actually only end up getting to maybe 2 to 5 getting through at the right time if I'm lucky. And most of them end up leaving a voicemail anyways too, which you can train your agent to do as well, to leave a voicemail and have your contact details with your voice as well. So it's really, it's almost in a sense that technology is advancing, but you also have to be very creative in the processes that you do. You can't just necessarily copy and paste a template and try to repeat it. The more creative you are, and the more you understand the nuances of the sales process and the cycle and the funnel, the better you'll be able to do. But the software that I am using as well, that I would recommend and I see other people using, is called 11 Labs.
Okay. No, I look at it like this, RJ. So like, as somebody who cold calls every single day, and as somebody who has made 25 of them already this morning, 2 people answered the phone out of those 25, right? And then yesterday, out of the 40 cold calls that I made, I believe I spoke with 4 people in total. So it's like, I see the doing more aspect of it, right? Like, I see that there's value that comes along with looking at those outside tools. And, again, it's like, I mean, some people, it's going to work for some, it's not going to work for others. But like, you also need to know kind of like what's out there and how it's going to, like help in your outreach, right? Because like, and then I also look at it from this perspective, RJ. There is only so much work one person can do throughout the day. Right. And I know that it is a numbers game at the end of the day. And more like, a lot of people want to put more and more content out there. They want to reach more and more decision makers. And again, it's like, I know that there's that school of thought where it's like, if I'm going to dial 100 numbers in a day and only get 2 people that are going to answer the phone, and it's going to go to voicemail, for example, it's like, is it worth putting a person on there, or can you deploy that piece of technology to kind of get it through and get it to the decision maker? And that's when you have your rep actually pick up the phone. So it's like, I can see the value in doing something like that, right? Like, and those are those tools that, again, like that's a smart investment. If you have the capital to put out there, that's a smart investment for you to apply to your business.
Oh, I agree completely. And with the thing too, I think that's a big point that you highlighted too, is it's always an investment, right? It's never a one-time fix solution. It's never a quick buck to gain another quick buck. It's an investment, because the day you launch your first, let's say, campaign of your voice agent, you're going to constantly be tweaking it as well in order for the best results that work for you, and something that does work for your whole team as well. So the investment part, completely agree, because that's the thing with technology, man. I almost hate saying it, but a lot of technology now is marketed as like, it's so simple, anybody can do it, anyone can learn it, anyone can pick up the phone, and anyone can just dial and create this and do that. But it's an investment to learn, and it's an investment to master in order to really reap the rewards.
Mm-hmm. Dude, it is. And it's like, and I also look at it is you don't, I think what's intriguing to me about what the structure of this is you can have it go through the gatekeeper, or even get because there's some of those, I'm assuming you can train it, because how many times are you calling places and they're like, for logistics, press 7, and it's like, you can get that and then have, I don't know, man, like, it's intriguing to think about, because like, I'm from that old school RJ where it's like, oh, I want to talk to everybody, and I'm like, but I'm hearing you with like the voice, like everything. I create so much content, like it'd probably be pretty easy for me to train an AI voice to sound just like me and copy my mannerisms.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And people are doing it. They'll create YouTube shorts, they'll create blog articles, and they'll just clone their voice. And like yourself as well, people that do podcasts, they will honestly just upload audio only podcasts, and it saves them a lot of time. I think there was, what is it called? Is it HeyGen? Yeah, I think HeyGen. The craziest part, HeyGen is like this AI avatar creator. You can clone yourself, or you can create your own avatar. But they actually now have it where you can have 2 avatars sitting in a room on screen, and they are conversing with each other, like talking like an actual, like you and me. And it's all via AI. Now, yes, you can kind of notice and tell it is AI. But for someone that, let's say, is not looking at the screen or they're listening in the background, most of the time, people are just listening to the key points and they might not even notice. And I think what a lot of marketers and salespeople are realizing too is the more voice content, but then also content I have out there that is especially keyword driven, whether it's freight brokerage or shippers or produce panel, LTL, whatever that might be, the more keywords you can have in your audio transcription, because YouTube's a search engine, the better chances you are of showing up as well too. But then also third most important too, now that everyone's kind of moving away from Google search and really leaning into AI such as ChatGPT search, Google Gemini search, it's those LLMs and models, they really are focusing more on, okay, what is your authority, but then also what keywords are you saying in videos? Because they really they scrape videos off YouTube, Reddit, TikTok, Instagram. So it's more prevalent than ever to make sure that when your voice is out there, you are being intentional with the words that you're saying as well too. And I think that's where that AI voice cloning and avatar in order to really show up in search engines and LLMs or AI models is really starting to pay off for some people too.
Do you think it's going to get to a point, RJ, where you're able to deploy that to create a little sales video that automatically goes to the recipient? Like, it's going to be integrated into your CRM where it's going to be like, hey, you need to email Tim today. And then it's going to create a short 20-second video and it's going to email it directly to Tim. Do you think like that's where things could trend?
It's already is. People are already building those workflows. There's a popular one called N8N. It's kind of a developer workflow where you can say, hey, from my Google Excel sheet, I have 10 people, 10 emails. You can add the notes, what their personality is, what they like. You can, let's say, grab that off LinkedIn. And then you have the workflow where it then says, grab Tim from the Excel sheet, create avatar based off what Tim likes. I'm telling you, man, some people honestly go super psycho with this. They'll go on their Facebook and they'll be like, oh, Tim's a Dodgers fan. So make sure that the avatar has a Dodgers t-shirt on there, right? And then from there, you generate the voice with 11 labs, and then from there you connect it to your email as long as it's within a certain size, obviously not like 5 or 8 gigabytes or something like that, right? And then you can then actually have it message you on Telegram or WhatsApp just before you approve. And if you click the button, it'll automatically email it, your voice, avatar, pain point message, and a quick 2 to 3 minute video. And I find that people do open up personalized video messages a lot more, especially if it's a cold email, because they're going to say, oh, wow, someone took the time to create a video for me. Okay, well, let's take a look at it, even if it is an AI avatar, right? So,
yeah, I just look at it, again, I'm warming up to utilizing AI in certain aspects of my business. And my big struggle with a lot of it, RJ, is I feel like a competitive advantage in the next 5 years or so is going to be the people who are like openly showing like, no, I'm a real human being here, right? Like this is actually me. Because I feel like it's going to go into that digital push. And then it's going to be, kind of like the dating app example thing. Now, like people don't even do that. They send emails. Like,
yeah.
Like what the fuck, So it's like, I look at it it's like, I think that's going to be the balance. And I feel like that is where AI and AI technology in your operations is going to be. How do you thread that needle of leveraging it to the right point where you still don't lose that human element? I think like that's going to be a big part of it. But I also see the benefit of like reaching out to more people, right? Like, again, if you're building a business, and I know I've said this on the show numerous times. So if you've been listening to me for a while, you might be like, I thought you were anti some of this stuff, but like, I also like to keep my mind open to like, how can I do more with less? Because like, as somebody who's bootstrapping their stuff up, I need to reach as many people as I possibly can in a day, because sales is a numbers game at the end of the day. Like where the majority of people are. Yes, I understand relationships, you guys. I get all of that, but I think a lot of people overlook where they are in the sales process. And when you're at the beginning, the very beginning, step one, which is I think where a lot of people sit with the majority of their prospects, you got to reach as many people as you possibly can in any given day or any given week. And I feel like most individuals haggle over details of, am I saying the wrong thing here and everything else? And the same thing with content. I think out of everybody I've talked to who was, I need to start creating content, they're all too afraid of sounding dumb right away. And that's why they don't start. But what they fail to realize is everybody sounds dumb. That's why I leave all of my first content, my first videos, my first podcast, they're all published still to this day, because I want people to not see, I don't even think I'm that polished, but like, I don't want people to see the version that I'm putting out today and think like this is just the way it's always been.
Yeah, exactly. You hit the nail on the head where it's the balance of, okay, where do I implement my AI, and then also where do I implement myself? But then in the future, right, I guess the premium experience will be, hey, I'm a human, I'm talking to you. It's not just an AI avatar talking to you. So I think it's kind of twofold to kind of answer it. It's the balance is going to be never rely on AI to close the deal for you or maintain the relationship. Like you said, if you're starting out in the beginning and you need to cast a wide net and gain as many individuals as possible, AI is a great tool in order to help you get there. But then also, what's kind of nice too is once you understand, let's say you are starting out and you are building out these processes, you'll be able to understand one, how you can improve on it, but you can also view how others are doing it, but also notice when others are doing it to you yourself. So it's kind of like and it's awareness factor, which is quite nice. And then the second part is just the way the economy is heading, especially if you look at big tech, the big four, Microsoft, Google, Apple, all of them. A lot of tech developers are getting laid off, unfortunately, in place of AI. So it's really not going to go anywhere. I understand it's a different industry, but even what I'm learning here in freight is it's absolutely insane the amount that technology gets integrated into it. So the relationship part is still going to be very, very important. But the more and more lean organizations get to try to stay profitable, but then also maximize output, I just see it being integrated more and more and more into the process. Like, I don't want to keep talking here, but do you remember that Will Smith video 2 years ago of him eating spaghetti? And people are like, wow, AI has got a long way to go before it convinces us. You look at it now, you load up Sora, OpenAI Sora, and you can create, I don't know, an animation video of Goku versus John Wick, right? With a click of a button. So just the speed and the way AI is going, I don't think it will impact relationships, but I think it will definitely be, especially in freight, if you aren't somehow integrating it and you aren't learning it effectively and looking out for those processes, you will easily drown amongst all of those that are adapting and using it.
I'm right there with you, RJ. I think that it is going to be a fine line that you're going to have to develop. And the winners of, like, I feel like the next gold rush is going to be from the businesses who find that absolute maximum. It's 88% automated, 12% personal. They're going to find that out. Those are the ones who are going to win with it because, again, every business is now, like, I think that this opens up so many more doors, RJ, where it's like you can pack a lot larger punch out there in the market with a shoestring staff. And what I mean by that is now you don't need 30 people to do that work anymore. You can get it done with 5. And then you pair that up with the right technology. And I think like that gives startups a lot more leverage to grow their company and build up those coffers, right? Because in reality, guys, when I say bootstrap, and for those out there who don't, because that term is thrown out there a lot, you are only using the capital you generate in your business or you personally put in there. You are not taking outside investment to build your company. So as I am bootstrapping my brokerage and my businesses, I got to find ways to, how do I get my cash reserves built up to where I'm not threading that needle of insolvency in your business? Because I don't, like I've said this a lot on the show and I'm going to say it again. I don't know if enough of listeners of this understand how many businesses are close to going out of business every month due to cash flow constraints. This opens up the door to where you can financially pad your organization to where you can make the right investments to create a better product, to maybe hire the right 2 people that you can keep employed with you for the next 20 years, as opposed to hiring 5, realizing you're running out of money and firing 4 of them, right? Like, I think like that is, and I could be kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but I feel like that is what people are going to be able to do here moving forward.
Well said. I agree 100%. I think also a big point that we also touched upon too is the hiring and the freelancers. A lot of businesses nowadays, they will hire freelancers. And if you ever worked with a freelance, I love freelancers. I was a freelancer myself. Don't want to rain on their parade, but let's be honest, right? They're freelancers and they're working for themselves. Nobody's more passionate about your business than you. And if you have, let's say, the right AI tool or workflow, you can exude that passion into that tool, right? So if you hire the wrong individual and you say, hey, why aren't you working as hard as this? Why aren't you, this is my business. Why is it, right? Like it really, it prevents it from being a problem, because one, if you do hire a freelancer, you can teach them how to use it. So then that way the passion and the results stay the same, but then also you're not having to throw money hoping to hire the right people that aren't necessarily going to be as passionate about growing your business and scaling it as quick as you, because just like you and I, they're at the end of the day, they're trying to survive and they're trying to grow their own business too. So I just wanted to touch on that point. I love freelancers. I'm not hating on them. I think it's a reality, especially when bootstrapped too, right? When hiring individuals and looking to grow.
Dude, absolutely. RJ, thank you so much for your time, man. I could go for another hour on this topic, man. This is fun. I'm gonna have you back on as we continue, as a lot of this stuff continues to develop out there. But dude, how does anybody reach out to you to find out more about what you got going on?
Yeah, for sure. You can check me out on SPI Logistics, or you can just reach out Finnegan at spi3pl.com, and be happy to help out.
Perfect. RJ, thank you so much. If you guys can't find RJ or SPI, hit me up. I will gladly put you guys in contact with them. But that is going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, you guys. And if you're feeling ambitious after this one, which you should be, rank the show on iTunes and Spotify, because if you saw value, your network's going to see it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.
Came back with a bang, window down, yelling out money, anything. Ayy, ooh, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when I'm getting to the back. Ayy, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast.